What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, and back after a very long time with some more Japan. I had it in my head, mistakenly, that I had gone through all the Japan material, but I forgot that we started with the third album, and I think at the time I was told the first couple albums are a bit different, and then after that they develop into this eccentric and charismatically creative, almost art pop act, and indeed, I enjoy the unique quality of their music. I've mentioned it in a number of those reactions, but I did forget that there were two albums that I skipped over when I started, and if I'm mischaracterizing what I was told, I do apologize. But Philip, great friend of the channel, full member on Patreon, a longtime friend, mentioned to me recently that the other two Japan albums are worth checking out, even if they are a bit different. So, given that I've been going through Bridges, the early project of two of the three members of a-ha, and on a couple of those, or in a couple of those videos, I've said, man, the only thing I can think of as a point of comparison with this crazy eccentric music are groups like Japan and Roxy Music. So because I've been going through Bridges, and because I've been saying things like that, this suggestion or reminder from Phil came at a very opportune time. So we're going to go back to their first album, Japan, 1978. It's called, perhaps a bit uncomfortably, Adolescent Sex. I don't know what to make of that title. We'll leave it for a future conversation if there is indeed a title track. But yes, the album is called Adolescent Sex. It's from 1978. And the first tune on the album is called Transmission, which, you know, it has a standard spelling. In the world of trance, you'll often see it written like T-R-A-N-C-E, mission, but no, this is just T-R-A-N-S, mission, which refers to a signal or a communication that is broadcast or sent through one technological means or another. Obviously, it's used in a more general sense for any communication or message between parties, but I don't really have any context for interpreting it. Again, it's a one-word title. Those are always tough to get a read on in advance, but their music has been, at best, lyric adjacent, meaning there are often Japan tunes that I've heard on the later albums where there's maybe a 1 or 1.5 minute of the song which actually does have some vocals, and some of them are just impossible to decipher, and then 7 minutes of the track will be an instrumental with changing configurations and phases. So don't really know what to make of it. Don't necessarily expect an answer, but let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Japan. The tune is Transmission, and it's the first tune on their 1978 album Adolescent Sex.
identity.
Okay, so yeah, I don't really know what it's about. I caught like tiny bits and pieces, including, I believe, the word transmission, but I don't know what to make of it because so many of the other words did not come across clearly. But yeah, in a way, it feels like it's still their own universe that they're in, and perhaps knowing where future chapters of the story go, it's entirely unsurprising to hear them that crazy and in their own lane right from the start. But yeah, we have the sort of deep, almost like woodwind style organ, which I enjoyed the sonic quality of that. Then there was that more alarm type of synth, which seemed to have, or again, like keyboard riff. I don't know technically what I was hearing there, but it seemed to be in conjunction with a cowbell type percussion. There was, of course, the guitar, which got really sort of bluesy and wicked at some phases, especially as the tune went along. Sylvian's voice, maybe not as, what was the phrase that was used, like someone singing with marbles in their mouth? Maybe not as much in that vein, maybe a bit more post-punk, almost reminding me maybe a bit of Public Image Limited, which, Johnny Rotten essentially, I think I threw an M in there. But yeah, it still was very much a Japan tune, and the bringing together of those different sounds was a really interesting blend. So it, like, part of my brain was thinking a bit post-punk, but it was also a bit galactic and experimental sounding with the keyboard work. So fitting opener, I suppose, for the album. I look forward to hearing anyone comment on what this may be about and what they think of this album overall and how it relates to the later material. And again, there's one more album after this that I haven't gone through either. So yeah, this is, I suppose, the return Japan journey, even if it's only for a couple albums. But it'll be interesting, it'll be enlightening, given that I've heard material after this, which, as I said at the beginning, is just so off in it's own left field, which, I don't know if that's a term that's used outside the US. Left field is like the most obscure defensive position in baseball, so, it's like often you're in your own world when you're out there because balls don't get hit there as often as they do other places, so that's where that phrase comes from. But yeah, I'll be interested to hear just how similar to or different from the later material this album is. So Once again, shout out to Philip and Izzy and others who've commented on the Japan journey in months past. Let me know what you think of this, and I will see you next time. Peace.